Class 8th History. Chapter number 7, Education and the British Rule.
Hello children, how are you all? Hope you all are doing good at home and taking good care of yourself. I am Ma'am Barsha, and today I am going to start a new chapter in history, chapter number 7, Education and British Rule. So you all can take out your book on page number 49. For a very long time we have been learning about the British, how they dominated in India, how they established their power in India, and today we'll be studying that how the Britishers, they played an important role in educating the Indians, how they brought about a lot of changes in the education sector in India. So when the Britishers, they came to India, a big question that came to them was that they thought that the people of India, they are not civilized, they are not educated. So they thought that what they should do in order to civilize the Indians, to make them educated. So they found out the solution, and they thought that the best way of educating and civilizing the Indians is by educating them. So education was provided to each and every Indian, thinking that if they will educate the Indians will be able to understand what the Britishers wanted to say, and they will be able to understand them in a better way. Before the coming of the Britishers in India there were two systems of education, and they were Pathshala and Madrasas. Pathshala was a system of education wherein the Guru used to call all the students, and there was an open area where the Guru, he used to teach his students. The Guru used to give the education to the students on different aspects of life. Many of these students, they used to join these classes, they used to join this institution of Pathshala, thinking that if they'll be educated, they'll be getting the jobs. They'll be getting different type of jobs, like they will be appointed as revenue collector, zamindar, etc. So most of the Indian students, they used to attend these Pathshalas to get educated. There was another center of education, that was Madrasa. In Madrasas also the students, they used to come, and the Guru, he used to impart the knowledge to the students, and most of the education was given orally, means verbally. Okay, the students, they used to generally come to the house of the teacher, and they were not having any fixed curriculum like the syllabus, but the teacher, he used to teach them whatever he thought is best for his students. And the subjects that were taught in these madrasas and pathshalas, they were mainly Sanskrit, Persian and mathematics. There were some other subjects also which were not at all taught. They were science and geography. There was no system of exams, like you all have exams in your school. You give half yearly, you give your final exam. So at that time there was no system of exam, and the teacher, he had a lot of freedom, quite unlike the system which is prevalent today. Means the system which is prevalent today is quite different from the system which was prevalent at that time to educate the people. There were two groups of people in the education scenario, and they were the Orientalist and the Anglicist. The Orientalist, they believed that whatever education to be imparted to the people, it should be done in their native language. For example, in Punjab, Punjabi should be used to impart the education to the people. Same goes with Bengal. Bengali should be used to impart the education to the people. So this is just an example that the Orientalists believe that they should use the native language of the people to educate them. So one of the persons, Sir William Jones, okay, he arrived in Calcutta. When did he arrive? In the year 1783. and he was an Orientalist. Now this William Jones, the Orientalist, he suddenly developed interest in Sanskrit language. So what he did, he studied the ancient Indian text on the different subjects, and he also translated many of them. You know what was the reason why he translated those texts, ancient Indian text? Because he thought that this will help the Britishers to know more about the Indian culture, and it will also help the Indians to know about their history and the heritage which they have lost. They will be able to rediscover it. So in the year 1784, William Jones, he set up an Asiatic Society of Bengal. And you know why he set up? He wanted that the Indian government also should promote such kind of institutions in India wherein the people can learn. He also wanted that the ancient Indian text should be taught in those institutions so that people could understand their own culture. And he also laid more and more stress on giving education to the people in their native language. Now the Governor General at that time, he was Warren Hastings. He also supported the Orientalist because he also said that yes, native language should be used to educate the people. He was also in favor of that. He helped to set up a madrasa in Kolkata to promote the study of the Islamic law. There was one more person, Jonathan Duncan. In the year 1792, he set up the Banaras Sanskrit College at Banaras, which is now known as Varanasi. And why was that college set up? In order to encourage the study of ancient Sanskrit text. Now moving further, there was another group that were known as Anglists. And among Anglists, there were two important people. One was James Mill and the other was Thomas Macaulay. And these people believed that the education should be imparted to the people in the Western language, or Western way of learning should be used to impart education to the people. So we now see that there are two groups of people. One is Orientalist, who focused on teaching the masses in their native language, whereas Anglist, they focused on teaching the masses in English language. The other person, Thomas Macaulay, Lord Thomas Macaulay, what he believed that the Oriental system of learning was very much inferior as compared to the European learning. You know the reason? He said that the Western learning through the medium of English is the best option for the people of India, because he said that the more focus should be given to the learning wherein people are learning the education to be practical. So he said that Oriental learning method is quite inferior. So for promotion of education in India, Charter Act of 1813 also played a very important role in education in India. This act provided that an amount of rupees 1 lakh should be spent annually on spreading the education, and mainly it focused on spreading the modern Western education as well as the traditional Indian learning. Orientalists and the Anglicists, they were having different views, so their issues were finally resolved in 1835 when English Education Act was passed, and it was decided that the money will be allocated for education which will be spent on promoting the Western education, and English will be the medium of the education. So the government also stopped supporting Oriental institutions. In 1854, the English East India Company sent an educational dispatch to India, and it was known as the Wood's Dispatch. Now, there were some benefits of this Wood's Dispatch. Let's discuss. The benefit was that the Western learning will enable the Indians to get the advantage of expanding their trade and commerce. Means by the study of Western education, they'll be able to understand that how they can expand their business, how they can expand their trade and commerce. Next benefit was that the Western learning will expose the Indians to the Western way of life, and it will create in India demand for British goods. This means when people will learn about the Western education, their life will change. They will start living a different way of life, and this will lead to the demand of the British goods, means they will demand more and more of British goods. Third benefit was that Western learning will develop among the Indians the skills which are required for administration and ensure a continuous supply of people to work at the lower level of government. This means if the people will learn about the Western education or they will learn English, this will increase their skills and this will help them to get the jobs of the lower level. Okay, and this will also help the company to save itself from employing the English people, because it was very difficult for them to employ the people from British who would have been paid the high salary. And British people, they thought that these people, they will become dependent on them for the job and they will be more loyal to them, and they will also want that British, they should continue to rule in India. Now we'll study that what was the comprehensive scheme of this Wood's dispatch, how they promoted their education in India. Firstly, it made a provision for spreading the education up to primary level and till university, means they made an arrangement for education from primary to the university level, and for that purpose various schools, colleges, universities, they were set up. In the year 1857, some universities were set up in Kolkata, Bombay and Madras. These were the important areas of the British. They were the British colonies. The medium of instruction will be vernacular, the primary level, and in the higher level, the education will be given in English. Education department were to be set up in all the provinces, and they were to supervise the education and provide the financial aid to the educational institutions in the province. Means the departments they were supposed to be set up in all the places, and they were to check that these institutions are provided the education, and money was to be spent on the recruitment of teachers, training the institutions. All this was set up all over the country. And so with this, children, we finish our first video. Rest of the topic I will teach you in my second video. Hope you all have understood this much. Go through the chapter from the book. Till then, bye bye.